the regression based on the fig effect model. So the empirical result for the fig effect model for the ASEAN 5+3, I found that the significant variable is the investment to GDP, explaining positive, has a big positive impact on growth, and also the export-import has a significant impact on growth for the, and also the prices, dummy variable prices 1997. So basically, the fig effect model say that investment and export-import explain the growth in the ASEAN +3 country. Fiscal educational variable or fiscal policy variable, whether it be distortionary tax or non-productive expenditure, doesn't, although the sign is correct, it doesn't explain the growth in the ASEAN +3. But we have to look at maybe fiscal policy affect the growth rate with a lag, that has a dynamic effect, because fiscal policy take time to affect growth. So I try the GMM model that take into account the dynamic effect of fiscal policy, the long-term effect of fiscal policy on growth, and I found that of course investment has a significant, investment and export-import has a significant effect on growth, but you can see that the educational enrollment ratio in the tertiary education has a positive impact on growth as well. But what is interesting is the impact by the fiscal policy. So we can see that the distortionary tax or income-based tax mainly has a negative impact on growth in the long run with significant, and also the productive expenditure has the positive impact on growth. Productive expenditure being the education, public health, defense spending has a positive impact on growth. So you can see there that I think the GMM model explain that the fiscal policy, they prove the endogenous growth theory with the ASEAN +3. But I try to limit my scope to the ASEAN 5 country, and I found that fiscal policy, the main driver of growth for the ASEAN 5 country are mainly export, trade openness, export-import to GDP, and also the budget surplus, meaning that if the government run fiscal discipline, country with government running fiscal discipline tend to grow at a higher rate than the country with running government not running fiscal discipline. But the variable, fiscal variable, show that it doesn't affect growth for the ASEAN country. So basically, we are seeing the two different, for the ASEAN +3, we see that the fiscal policy has a dynamic impact on growth, that productive expenditure show positive impact, distortionary tax show negative impact. But when we only focus for the ASEAN 5 country, fiscal policy, although the sign is it showed that it doesn't have the significant impact on growth for the ASEAN 5. So the policy conclusion is that for the ASEAN +3, taxation and public expenditure have the long-term implication on economic growth, and is consistent with the theoretical prediction that distortionary tax has a negative impact, while the productive expenditure have positive impact on growth in the region. And prudent fiscal policy is crucial to economic growth. Countries should focus on promoting investment and trade openness for the ASEAN Plus 3. And ASEAN country is especially vulnerable to external shock that we can see that the dummy variable after 1997 show a very large negative 7.2 coefficient for the dummy variable 1997. So these are the conclusions. But I also have the breakdown by country of the data. I think doing this study, I found that the data for the fiscal data is quite limited. Surprisingly, the longest data that I found was for China from 1979 to 2006, the first country. But the least data I got was surprisingly from Japan, very limited data from Japan. And so you can see Korea, Thailand has a long data relatively. So these are the data that for individual country that I did a study. Okay.
Thank you very much. Some questions seems that you are getting results as expected. Then your graduation should come along very soon. Any members of from Japan would like to respond to the nature of data set that could visit experience? Dr. Abe, do you know something about the data set? Or maybe he's didn't go to the right place?
Just came in.
Professor
Ishimura should know.
Professor Ishimura,
Yeah.
would you care to comment, please? Thank you.
My question is, did you pay attention to the cyclical aspects of your study?
I include the time trend variable that in the my regression.
Because fiscal policy usually has anti-cyclical aspects, so that if you just regress the fiscal expenditure or in its components on the GDP growth, that's not enough. You really have to pay attention to the cyclical aspects of fiscal expenditure on the cyclical aspects of GDP. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else would like to say something about Kunpisit's paper? No? If not, well, thank you, Kunpisit. Let's give him a nice round. Please may I invite Professor Chung Lee to